Hi YouTube, this is Joe Calton with Calton Cutlery. You can find me on the web, caltoncutlery.com. So this video, I'm trying to shoot another one. It's not really coming together all that well, so I thought I'd shoot this one first. Would you spend 30 bucks to make all your knives in your house cut like brand new? 30 bucks. 30 bucks an afternoon, you know, worth of playing with your knives and a sharpening stone. Would you spend $30 to get every single knife in your house cutting like brand new again? Would you? 30 bucks? I'm talking about this right here. This is a Norton Crystolon Coarse Fine. They call it the JB8. Okay. This is actually the this box is the it's like an anniversary edition box. This is a stone right here. Simple sharpening stone, right? This is, like I said, a Norton Crystolon JB8. Crystolon is their trade name, I believe, for silicon carbide. This stone right here will cut just about any kind of steel you could ever want to cut with it. It's $30 or so shipped if you've got Amazon Prime. If not, I pick these up at the local Murdoch's, which is a ranch and farm supply house. Anyway, so we'll take that stone, and we're going to take this knife right here, which is a Victorinox 8-inch class chef's knife. You know, I probably got it at a yard sale or a pawn shop or flea market, whatever. And I'm going to show you just exactly how much power is built into this little $30 stone here, okay? So let's pull you down to where you can see what I'm working on. I have got here a brick, paving brick, right? Red brick. Okay, I've got a knife, which, you know, it's not too bad. I use this knife to cut sandpaper down into strips for hand sanding and stuff. But it's entirely too sharp for this demonstration, right? So we're going to do this. We're going to knock that edge. That was probably pretty loud, but we knocked that edge completely off. I mean, it's, you can look, and you can see light reflecting all along the edge. I mean, it just looks, there's rolls, there's all kind of nastiness in there, right? So now what we're going to do is we're going to take, now I use bricks to hold my sharpening stone up off the bench. We're going to throw a blue paper towel on that. We're going to start off with the coarse side. We are going to take this stuff right here, wood and bamboo oil. If you look at the back ingredients, it says mineral oil. You can use baby oil if you want to also. Honestly, I can't stand the smell of that stuff, so I don't use it. But I buy mineral oil by the gallon. We're going to take our knife. We are going to lay it flat on the stone. Then we're going to raise the spine up, oh, I don't know, 1/4 inch or so, something like that. And then we are going to start shaping our edge. Okay, now you probably won't be able to see a whole lot, but when you see me run my fingertips along the knife edge, what I'm doing is I'm putting my fingers on the spine, okay, and then drawing the knife away from my fingertips until my fingertips run off the edge. What I'm feeling for is a burr there. Now that burr is going to be, it's a piece of the metal that got curled over on the opposite side from the side that you were abrading, right? Okay, now when I feel that burr on one side but I don't feel it on the other side, that means that side just got cleaned up. Alright, so now we're going to do it on the other side. Okay, now the original side. Now they both feel fairly smooth, right? So we've gotten rid of most of the damage that I just caused by, you know, raking it across that brick. But we need to go a step farther. We need to establish that both sides of that blade are meeting together in a plane. Okay, a plane is just a long version of a point. Okay, so think about a number 2 pencil. Okay, so you take a number 2 pencil, you see how this one is dull, right? The two edges, or two sides, do not meet at a point. It used to meet it as a point, but then it got knocked off, okay, or broken, or just worn down. All right, so that right there is dull. Let's find a sharp pencil. That right there is a nice sharp pencil point. Okay, a point is just, or excuse me, a plane, you know, two sides meeting together is just a point, only, you know, along a line. All right, so what we need to do is we need to take that knife edge and put it from dull to sharp again. The easiest way to do that is with a burr. Okay, so now that I removed most of the damage, I'm going to grind one side until I feel that burr move to the other side, or I'm going to grind one side until I feel a burr on the opposite side. Then I'm going to swap sides and grind that side until I feel a burr on the original side. Okay, so, and you can go back and forth like this. You can go circles. You can do classic knife strokes. You know, anything that, whichever motion, you guys can't see that. Okay, you can go back and forth like this. You can go circles. You can do standard knife strokes. Almost there. I'm starting to pick up a burr on parts of it, but not on others. So in the interest of keeping it fairly even, I'm going to work the other side for a bit. Now, this part right here, I'm using fairly heavy pressure. I would say, maybe a pound or two, something like that. And that's downward pressure on the knife into the stone. Okay, so, you know, you'll be able to tell by sound and by feel whether the stone is cutting the steel or not. Picking up a little bit more. We're starting to feel like we're almost there, so we'll get a little bit more oil and do it again. This part is the part that takes the longest. That's shaping that new edge. We're almost there, and while we're doing that, I'm going to swap you over here to where you can see from this angle. I forget, which side was I working on? Probably this side. Okay, now I can feel that burr along the entire edge. Okay, so now we're going to go on this side and bring the burr up to this side. Then our shaping will be pretty much done. So when I say angles, put you right in front of the camera there. Alright, so that's laying the blade flat on the stone. Okay, now the angle that we're after is to lift the spine until you can feel the flat of the edge. Okay, so in this case it's right about there or so. Okay, and then you want to maintain that angle throughout your stroke, whether it be knife strokes, whether it be forward and back, whether it be circles, whether it be standing on your head blindfolded, you know, whichever way, whichever motion feels best to you, lay that blade flat on the stone, raise it up to that angle, and then use that motion to abrade the steel away. Now, when you're learning to sharpen, do not get hung up on the angles, okay? As long as you can hold within, I don't know, 5 degrees worth of the angle, you'll be just fine. So now I can feel a burr here, and I can feel a slight burr here. I'm not feeling a burr through there, and then here it's picking back up again, and then I can feel it the rest of the way down. So I need a little bit more work in between my fingertips right there. Okay, so now I can feel that burr all along this side, and I could feel it all along on this side when I, you know, just a second ago. So now what we need to do is kind of clean everything up and even it out. So since the burr is on this side of the blade, we're going to take some nice knife strokes. Now we're really easing up on our pressure. Okay, now that burr moved over to the other side. Really easing up on our pressure and much more controlled and trying to keep a more precise angle. Now the burr moved over to the original side, so now I'm going to pick you back up, put you over here. Okay, now you're looking at my face again. Let's grab a rag, and we're just going to clean the blade off. Now this is what I like about this this Norton Coarse Fine. This is the silicon carbide version, or the Crystolon version. You get 2 stones in one. You get a coarse side for shaping, just in case somebody decides to take your favorite kitchen knife and rake it across a brick to completely knock the edge off, or if they're going to go digging up carrots out of the garden, or use it as a can opener, or, you know, scraping gaskets off of a car part with it, or, you know, all the multitude of things that you're really not supposed to do with your kitchen knife, but people think that it'd be a good idea anyway. That's what the coarse side is for, is to repair damage and reset edges, okay? That's to turn this into this, okay? Now your fine side, and we use mineral oil on the fine side also, your fine side is to start taking this and getting it truly sharp, okay? So the coarse side is to set everything up, shape edges. Your fine side is to finish shaping that edge, get rid of the, this side right here is like 120 grit finish, so think about that like sandpaper. So a really rough sandpaper, I know that sandpaper is generally, well, you know, 120 grit or so might be considered like a medium or a fine sandpaper. This side right here is going to be around about a 300 grit sandpaper, something like that. So that's for really smoothing things out and refining your edge. Now remember, we still have that burr. That burr is going to tell us when we're done with each step. Alright, so we have a light burr on this side right here, so we're going to put that side down. Same angle, much less pressure. Okay, and now we're just kind of cleaning up that scratch pattern. And it won't take long. Okay, that looks pretty good, and my burr is telling me that we are moved over and that we're ready to go to the other side. So now the same thing on this side. I mean, honestly, this right here, sharpening a knife, while it might take you a little bit longer, personally, I think sharpening a knife is easier than tying your shoelaces. And certainly much easier than driving a car. It might be about the same level of difficulty as, I don't know, brushing your teeth, something like that. I mean, for crying out loud, you're taking a chunk of steel and you're rubbing it on a rock and trying to maintain the right angle, right? Okay, so we got the burr from we got the burr on the coarse side, or first we removed most of the damage from raking the edge across the brick on the coarse side, right? Then we brought one side of that plane, one side of it, to a burr on one side. Then we brought this side to meet the original side, and we got a burr coming over here to let us know that we were done. Then we went to the fine side to do the same thing. Okay, so now we have got an edge that's about a 300 grit finish, okay, and we have that burr going back and forth to let us know when we're done. Okay, so now all of our shaping is done. Okay, now what we need to do is really refine that burr and weaken it and get it ready to remove it. Okay, and because our edge will be right behind that burr. All right, so to do that, what we're going to do is really reduce our pressure now. So now we are talking ounces of pressure on the blade going into the stone. And we're going to do, I don't know, 4 or 5 or 6 strokes on either side. And we're going to do that a couple of times. What I really like about these Norton Crystolon coarse fine stones is the fact that they put so much cutting power into such an affordable package. Like I said, $30, and with this stone you can maintain all of the edges on your kitchen knives, your pocket knife, your scissors, chisels, pretty much anything with a straight knife-like edge can be brought back to life and maintained on a $30 stone and a $5 bottle of mineral oil. All right. So now that burr I'm feeling is just very light. Some places you can't even feel it at all. Okay, so now what we're going to do is, now there's several different methods to remove the burr. You can use micro bevels, where you take your knife, you lay it flat on the stone, you raise it up to your sharpening angle, and then you raise it up another 10-15 degrees higher than that and shear that burr off. You can drag the knife through a piece of wood to knock the burr off. You can strop the blade, palm stropping or an actual strop, like a leather strop, to remove that burr. I normally do micro bevels. How about this time we do my friend Murray Carter's technique of drawing it through a piece of wood. So let's do a couple of very light strokes just to really weaken that burr up to where it's just barely hanging on. And it is now. We're going to find kind of sort of a clean patch of wood here on my bench. How about right there? Now very lightly, okay, we're talking an ounce or less or so. We draw that edge through the wood and we knocked off the burr. Okay, so since we used his burr removal method, let's stone strop to remove, or to clean up any ragged edge that might be on there. Which stone stropping is the same as a normal cut or a normal sharpening stroke, only in reverse. Okay, so now instead of starting back here and going forward, we're going to start up here and go backwards. There's one. There's two, or one on the other side. So here's 2 on that original side. We'll do like three strokes. Any much more than that and you're creating a new burr. Okay. So now what we should have here, we need a piece of paper. Here's a piece of copy paper. Now remember, this knife was already dull when I started because I used it to cut sandpaper. Then I raked the edge across the brick, and now I've spent, well, the video is 20 minutes long, so I probably spent 15 minutes actually sharpening the thing. Look at that. Let's see if we can do the, almost, the little curly thing. How about a push cut? Another one? All of that off of a $30 stone. Okay? Now, generally speaking, you're not going to take, let's bring it up here to where you can see me. Now, generally speaking, you're not going to take your nice kitchen knives and rake them across a brick to dull them up to make a point as to how easy this is, okay? So, normally they're just going to be a little bit dull, okay? If they are just a little bit dull, you don't have to go all the way to the coarse side. You can tune it up on the fine side and conserve metal, because every time that you sharpen a blade, you're removing steel, all right? Just like with a pencil, okay? Every time you use that pencil, you abrade some of that lead away until it gets dull, and then you have to cut back into the pencil to be able to expose a fresh fresh point. Okay, you're doing the same thing on a knife, only instead of a point, you're talking about a plane, which a plane is just a point lengthways, right? Okay, so like I said, these stones right here, grab the box so you can see it. Okay, $30, and you just saw 15 minutes, right? Now, I've been sharpening knives since I was 5 years old, okay? I'm 40 now. You know, so that, and I'm a knife maker, so I sharpen up a ton of knives every month. It wouldn't be out of the ordinary for me to sharpen, you know, to make, say, 30 knives in 1 month. Well, all those knives have got to be sharpened, plus all my shop knives, my pocket knife, the knives, you know, the kitchen knives. I mean, I sharpen a lot of knives, all right? So I might be a little bit faster at it than, you know, the average Joe, which I am a Joe. I figure I'm an average Joe. There's some comedy for you. Let's say it takes you 3 times as long, so it takes you 45 minutes to sharpen up a knife. Well, is $30 for a stone, $5 for, you know, some oil, and 45 minutes spent with, you know, your favorite knives, making them cut brand new again, worth it? Honestly, I think it is. Okay, so, and even if it isn't, try it a couple of times. See if you like it. If you do like it, you learn how to sharpen, and then that sets you free from dull knives for the rest of your life. And then teach your, you know, your spouse, your kids, your neighbor, everybody. Anyway, so would you spend $30 to make all of your knives in your house cut like brand new again? Kitchen knives, pocket knives, scissors, utility knives, you know, outdoorsman type knives, so like hunting knives, fillet knives, you know, pretty much any of it. All of it is just as simple as rubbing a chunk of steel on a rock. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Pick one of these up. If you don't like those, the Norton Fine India, it comes in a Fine India and a Coarse side also. Pretty much, but I would stick with Norton. They've been my best, you know, budget, entry-level, basic stones with a lot of sharpening power for the cost. Anyway, this is Joe Calton with Calton Cutlery. You can find me on the web, caltoncutlery.com. I hope you enjoyed the video. Get yourself a stone, start practicing sharpening. You'll find out how easy it is, and your work will go much, much easier, whether it's in the kitchen, out in the field, you know, doing any kind of crafts, anything like that. Hope you enjoyed the video, and we will see you next time.